Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. I have realized I'm a fan of OSRs, probably because I'm old. For those of you that don't know what an OSR is, OSR stands for Old School Roleplay or Old School Revival. A lot of people think that an OSR is just a clone of the old basic Dungeons and Dragons or the first or second edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but it's really not. In some cases it is, but technically an OSR is a role-playing game that is very simple, very rules light. Characters are very easy, very quick to make out. A lot of the rules, instead of having a bunch of bonuses and negatives that you add to your rolls, you just basically roll. And the books aren't full of a bunch of finicky rules, and it relies a lot on Game Master judgment calls. So in this video we're going to talk about an OSR. The OSR we're going to talk about is Mork Borg. This book has 71 pages and a copyright of 2020. It was published by Occult Wartmaster and Stockholm Games. All of the artwork in this book is in black and white, except for a couple of pictures. It's also got a couple of pages that have this really nice metallic silver bit to it. So let's go ahead and look at that artwork. This is the first picture we see when we open the book. Most of the artwork in this book is in black and white, but some of the pictures do have color. Some of the artwork in this book can be somewhat gruesome, but it is pretty decent and goes a long way to setting a proper tone and mood for this game. To use this book, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this core rule book and a full set of dice. A full set of dice containing a 20-sided die, 12-sided die, and preferably two 10-sided dice for rolling both percentiles and tens, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, and a 4-sided die. Character creation in this game is very simple. You just have 4 attributes, and the attributes are generated much like the attributes in Dungeons and Dragons. The attributes are agility, presence, strength, and toughness. And there's 2 different ways to play this game. You can play it without classes or with classes. If you play the game without classes, then you roll 4 6-sided dice, drop the lowest die, and add the 3 that are left together for each attribute. Once you have that done for each attribute, you compare those numbers to a chart. The chart will give you a bonus, ranging from negatives to bonuses, and after that you'll never use the number you rolled ever again. And the only thing that's important is the bonuses that you gain. That's the only thing you'll ever use. Now, if you use the classes, what you'll do is you'll just roll 3 6-sided dice, add them together, and add them in. But the classes each have their own little bonuses and negatives to the different attributes. So there's that. After you get your attributes figured out, you'll figure out your hit points. Your hit points are equal to your toughness plus an 8-sided die if you're using the classless play. If you're using classes, then each class has their own hit points that they roll. After you figure that, you randomly roll up your equipment, randomly roll up your armor, randomly roll up your weapons, and then you randomly roll your gold, your silver pieces, because this game uses silver instead of gold. And that's pretty much for character creation. After that, you have options. And my suggestion is you use the options because it provides so much more that you can do. It makes the characters more horrifying. The first option is called Omens. Without classes, each character gets a D2 for Omens they can spend each day, and after a rest, they revive. But Omens can be spent in many different ways. You can spend an Omen to do max damage, spend an Omen to reroll a roll, spend an Omen to negate a critical roll or a fumble. And you don't have to spend them on yourself, you can spend them on a party member, which is cool. After Omens, you have some different traits that you can roll for your character. You roll a 20-sided die for each of these. The first trait is terrible traits, and you roll twice. This will give your character 2 terrible traits. And the rest you only roll once for, which are broken body, which is a deformity that your character will have, or scars or something. Then you have a bad habit that you roll up. And then you have troubling tales, which the Game Master can either have the whole group roll once for the whole party, or each individual player, however he wishes to run it. Then you have classes. Classes are optional and rolled randomly. The classes presented in this game are the Fanged Deserter, the Gutterborn Scum, the Esoteric Hermit, the Wretched Royalty, the Heretical Priest, and the Occult Herbmaster. And each of these classes give you different specialties and bonuses and stuff that you can use for your character. It can really help your game along. The basic rules in this game are simple. You roll a d20 against a difficulty number. Typical difficulty is 12. Now that can be adjusted by your game master if he wishes, or by specialties or negatives that you can incur through your classes and other things. And that's really it. And there's some monsters in here that you could use in your game, and those are really neat. The goblin that it shows in this game is nastier than what you would find in Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons, goblins are kind of annoying like kobolds, but in this game, they're horrifying. Goblins in this game were all once human, and if they attack you, whether they hit or miss, then you are cursed and you become a goblin after 6 days. If you can kill the goblin that attacked you before then you're okay. But as soon as you become a goblin, then your character is a monster and you got to make up a new character. There is a starting adventure in this game in the back for you to use and get going, and some charts and stuff that in the back that you can use, and that's pretty cool. The game itself is this world that you're in. It's dying. It's apocalypse. And so at the beginning of each adventure, of each session that is, the Game Master will roll a die to see if one of the prophecies, one of the signs show up to herald in the end of the world. And depending on how quickly he wants them all to show up, will depend on what die he uses. And if he rolls a 1 on that die, then one of the signs of the apocalypse shows up. And once all 7 are shown, the world's ended, you're done, you're dead, goodbye. And that's pretty cool. So all the players are basically just trying to live up the rest of their life, gain as much silver as they can before they die, or get themselves killed so they don't have to face the end of the world. This game has probably one of the highest mortality rates of player characters I've ever seen. And I've just watched people play. I haven't actually got a chance to do it myself, which I can't wait to get into it. But anyway, that brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? Absolutely. I love dark, twisted stories. This game would be perfect for me. Would I run this game? As soon as I find players to play, you can bet I'm running this game as much as I can just to see how well they do. Would I recommend this game? I would recommend it, but if you're into really getting attached to your characters and seeing them have long, prosperous lives, this is definitely not a game for you. If you're into darkness and don't mind getting your characters killed at some points, then yes, you're going to have a lot of fun with this, I think. And that's pretty much all I got to say for Mork Borg. Thank you for joining me to look at this book, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.